Security! Get this man out of my conference room. I don't care what title he claims to have. No one wearing budget shoes and carrying a beat-up laptop bag is sitting at my negotiation table during a $300 million acquisition. Gerald's voice ricochets off the glass walls, sharp enough to make two assistants flinch. He steps closer, pointing at Daniel like he's a stain on the carpet. Honestly, who let you in? Did you sneak in behind catering? This floor is for executives, not petite, not wanderers, looking for free air conditioning. A few executives exchange smirks. One whispers, "This is embarrassing." Another quietly films with their phone. Daniel doesn't move. He just adjusts his posture and watches Gerald unload. Gerald snatches a paper off the floor and waves it mockingly. You see this? Creased, cheap. No one with real authority walks around with folders like these. He flicks it back toward Daniel's feet. Unless you're here to refill the water pitchers, you've got 10 seconds before security drags you out. Daniel slowly kneels, gathers the papers carefully, and lifts one embossed folder. The logo catches the light. Gerald's breath stops. Daniel meets his eyes. Before you embarrass yourself completely, are you absolutely sure I don't belong here? The boardroom hums with cold morning ambition. Glass walls stretch high, flooding the room with sharp daylight that reflects off chrome fixtures and perfectly polished floors. The environment belongs to people who believe they own the world, or deserve to. Gerald paces across the room like he's presenting himself, not the deal. His navy suit is crisp, his silver tie clip shining exactly where he wants attention. Behind him, the Langford and Monroe executives whisper, trying to decide whether to enjoy the scene or pretend professionalism. Daniel remains near the door, unshaken. An assistant steps forward timidly. "Sir," she whispers to Gerald, "the meeting was scheduled for 10. He might be—" "Quiet," Gerald snaps. "I know exactly who belongs in my meetings." He turns back to Daniel, voice dripping with class-coded venom. "You have no badge, no assistant escort, no appointment confirmation, and that cheap backpack. Please, my interns carry nicer things." Daniel gently zips it shut. A murmur ripples across the room. A few executives pretend to focus on their tablets, but their eyes stay locked on the unfolding disaster. Gerald folds his arms. "So, tell me, how exactly did you—" A voice from the hallway interrupts him. "Mr. Cross?" Everyone turns. A junior analyst stands there, red-faced and breathless. "I checked the lobby logs," he says nervously. His meeting is at 10, and it's flagged as high clearance." Gerald freezes. "For who?" he demands. The analyst swallows. "For the executive suite." Now the room shifts. Executives straighten in their chairs. Phone screens go dark. The air stiffens as people realize the humiliation may not be one-sided. Daniel sets his backpack on the table, gently, respectfully, but with a confidence that doesn't belong to someone who was just insulted. Gerald forces a laugh. "You're joking," he says, waving him off. "There's no way this man is part of a $300 million negotiation." Daniel opens the embossed folder just enough for the golden seal to catch the light again. A few heads tilt. One executive's eyes widen. That is the moment. Subtle, quiet, when the room feels the truth trying to surface. And Gerald feels the first drop of fear he's desperately trying not to show. Gerald tries to recover with the confidence of a man who's never been challenged. "Fine," he says sharply. "If your little appointment is real, tell us who you work for." Daniel closes the folder, calmly locking his fingers on top of it. "Patience," he says. "You'll know soon." "Patience?" Gerald snaps. "You show up unannounced, dressed like an underfunded intern, carrying whatever that is." He points at the backpack. "And you expect me to wait?" "Expect?" Daniel repeats softly. "No, I don't expect anything." Gerald leans forward, voice lowering. "You're stalling because you don't belong here. Admit it before this gets worse for you." Daniel looks him directly in the eye. "When people reveal who they are," he says, "I let them finish." A subtle line, a dangerous one. Gerald's jaw tightens. Someone in the back hides a grin. The double doors open. A woman in a dark suit enters, one of the company's senior partners. Behind her, a legal associate. Then, two financial officers. They all stop when they see Daniel. The partner speaks first. "Mr. Cross, we're ready when you are." Silence detonates through the room. Gerald blinks. "Mr. Who?" The partner turns to him. "Mr. Daniel Cross, lead negotiator and interim acting director for the Acquisition Review Board." The color drains from Gerald's face. Executives whisper, "That's the guy? The Cross family? Isn't he the one who—" "Oh my God," Gerald stammers. No, that's impossible. He He looks like what? Daniel asks softly. Gerald has no answer without exposing himself. The partner nods respectfully to Daniel. We appreciate you coming personally. The board wanted clarity on the deal terms before finalizing the 300 Menors approval. Gerald chokes on air. The board? Daniel nods. Yes, the partner continues. And since the final decision rests with him, we'll proceed whenever he's ready. That last line hits the room like a hammer. The man Gerald tried to throw out is the decision maker. Daniel picks up the folder. Let's begin. He walks toward the head of the table. Gerald doesn't move because, for the first time in his polished, privileged career, he is no longer the most powerful man in the room. Daniel stands at the head of the table, posture steady, eyes calm. He opens the folder, the same one Gerald mocked, and slides out the contract. Your proposal, he says, voice even, undervalues our assets by $72 million. Executives gasp. Gerald swallows hard. Daniel continues. And your timeline revision attempts to shift liability entirely onto our company. Unacceptable. The senior partner nods. He's right. We caught it too. Daniel taps a highlighted section. This clause, the one requiring our side to report directly to your oversight board, that is a violation of the preliminary agreement. Gerald tries to speak. That clause was just a power grab. Daniel finishes. Muted chuckles from executives. Gerald's arrogance starts collapsing on itself. Daniel turns a page. And finally, the language in your internal emails, referring to our team as expendable and desperate, is grounds for immediate suspension of negotiations. Gerald's breath catches. You read our emails? Daniel looks at him calmly. Everything you tried to hide is in the audit trail. Whispers explode across the room. Gerald's humiliation becomes a silent spectacle, the same way he tried to humiliate Daniel, but now the roles are reversed. The room is watching him. Daniel closes the folder. We're terminating the deal, he announces. Gasps. A dropped pen echoes like a gunshot. $300 million. Gone. And Gerald caused it all. Gerald collapses into the nearest chair, face pale. Wait, Daniel, please, we can renegotiate. I didn't know. Daniel pauses at the doorway. That was the problem, he says. You didn't want to know. Executives avoid Gerald's eyes. The partner nods to Daniel, grateful. This will be documented, she says. Every misstep, every insult. Gerald's voice cracks. Please, don't file the report. It'll kill my career. Daniel studies him, not with spite, not with triumph, but with clarity. You tried to throw me out, he says softly. You tried to humiliate me, but power doesn't come from clothes or bags or who you think belongs. He steps forward. Power comes from truth. Gerald lowers his head. Daniel turns toward the elevators. Assistants move aside. Executives rise in respect. The glass doors slide open, reflecting a man who never raised his voice, never begged for recognition, and never needed permission to walk into any room. As the elevator closes, Daniel speaks the final words. Arrogance blinds you, but respect will open every door. The elevator descends. Justice settles over the boardroom like clean air after a storm. This is Black Twisted Stories.